And with me is Dave Pritchard, who got a great result at the recent British Grand Prix here at Brands Hatch.
Yes, I was very lucky. It was very slippery conditions, and the powerful cars had a problem to get the power onto the ground due to the slipperiness, yes.
Now, you came 7th and was the highest placed two-wheel drive car.
Yeah, so I was quite pleased with that, yes, because my car is one of the lowest performance cars in Rallycross, so I didn't have so much trouble getting the traction as the other cars with all the power.
That's rather special, isn't it, your car, your Metro?
Yes, it's hand-built. It's been a project that's been in the workshop for about 3 years now, and it's just all come together now. It is the third outing for the car, so I'm very pleased with the way it performed the other weekend, yes.
So it should pay dividends today?
Oh, well, I hope so, yes.
Now, you're going to have our in-car camera, aren't you?
Yes, we're going to try and do our best to keep the windscreen clean.
You're going to get some good stuff for us?
Well, we certainly hope so, yes. But it's always difficult from the back in muddy conditions because you don't really know where the mud's going.
Well, all I can say, the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
For race one of our second meeting, we see down on the start line competitors, and headed there by 191 Jake Harris on pole from Scarborough in Yorkshire with the Metro, ex-Autograsser, champion of champions for 2 years in that branch of motorsport. Beside him, 162 Dave Ling, the driver from here in Maidstone in Kent with the Fiesta. Looking over to the right, we can see Dave Pritchard there. Dave Pritchard from Hereford with the very, very fast Metro on the outside of the front row, and he is, I think, the driver to watch in this particular race. Watch also number 127, Andy Tedder on the Escort on the left. Oh, nearly jumping the start there, Andy Tedder, but going back, and he's going backwards, and just about everyone else is going forwards, but it's Dave Ling making a superb shot. Dave Ling coming along the top straight, pulling well clear there at the moment. Dave Ling from Jake Harris, and there we see a picture from inside the car of Dave Pritchard as they go away down into Tumble Down Hill for the first time, headed by 162 Dave Ling with Jake Harris coming along inside. Jake Harris taking the lead now as Ling slows as 400 Pete Malem coming up into second place from Sittingbourne with the Pinto engine Ford Escort, and Dave Pritchard fighting his way through the corner there, trailing a few cars. The man who was 7th overall in the recent Motorcrypt Grand Prix as they come up the hill and into Druids for the first time. It's Jake Harris who's taken over in command. Car number 191 into second place, number 67, Ron Wright, with Andy Tedder there, the man who had troubles all on the start line as they come down into Langley's Gap for the first time. We can see Ron Wright in second place behind our leader, number 191, Jake Harris, and windscreen washers working furiously there on the Dave Pritchard car. That's the car, number 191, the lightweight Metro, as we see Dave Ling going very, very, very wide along the knife edge as the field is headed round and over Hoppy's drop by number 191 Jake Harris from number 67 Ron Wright. Those two cars coming through there with 400 Pete Malen's Escort, John Wagnall's Visa well positioned as we see the Escort getting very, very sideways. Dave Pritchard with his windscreen cleared coming down the Cooper Straight now, trailing the number 67 car, the Mini there of Ron Wright, but it's still Jake Harris. Dave Pritchard in third place. We see Kurt Robertson down well placed in the field, and down below us at least 3 cars in trouble as Andy Tedder picks his way out and heads up the top of the hill. Meanwhile, ahead of him a big bunch of cars coming down Tumble Down Hill, still headed then by number 191, Garage Proprietor from Scarborough, Jake Harris. Dave Pritchard through now into second place with his Metro from Pritchard Developments, Alan Moore near Hereford. Ron Wright in third, Pete Malem, the Citroen Visa there of John Waghorn, and the pack very tightly bunched as they come now up into the Druids hairpin with Jake Harris still with the advantage on the inside. Dave Pritchard going rather wide on that corner. Waghorn into fourth place now with the Visa, with Ron Wright down now into third, leading the Minis, but up front it's still Jake Harris, number 191, Dave Pritchard, then Ron Wright through Langley's Gap, and the Escort of Pete Malem dropping down now to about 5th position behind this front-wheel drive machinery, still headed along. The bearded Jake Harris looking over his shoulder there to see where the opposition is, and it's not far away. And Jake, I think, with a little bit of misting up on side the car, wiping the windscreen there as they went round and onto Hoppy's drop. There's Jake Harris with Dave Pritchard now in very close attention. The Citroen Visa of Waghorn from Caterham into third place, and 5 cars almost touching each other as they come away down the Cooper Straight with John Waghorn in the Citroen Visa, having a close look now at Dave Pritchard in second, but the 2 of those cars still behind number 191. This man, Jake Harris, all the way from Scarborough in North Yorkshire, and Jake it is leading the pack up the hill there. as we take another view from Dave Pritchard's car. Dave coming down now round the right-hander, turning into Tumbledown Hill to come down Tumbledown Hill. Still Dave Pritchard second. Ron Wright a very close third. These cars very closely matched now. Through the S's, John Waghorn still fourth. Then Pete Mailer moving up now ahead of the Ramsgate Glass twin cam Fiesta there of Kerr Robertson. And up the hill it's side-by-side stuff as they come into Druids with, I can see Pete Mailer in trouble down at the back. Two Metros almost formation racing here as they come round to this 31. Dave Pritchard trying to go all the way around the outside and doing it. And Dave Pritchard takes the lead as they go through. And you can see a view then from the leader's car as he heads along the knife edge through Langley's Gap, the remainder of the field, and Dave Pritchard with Jake Harris still right in there with him. Now going into their last lap, and it's Jake Harris still challenging Dave Pritchard. Pritchard leads and on to Hockey's drop. John Waghorn there with the Visa, but up front it's these two white Metros, Dave Pritchard and Jake Harris. The Citroen Visa still holding on. Ron Wright, Pete Malum and Kerr Robertson, those five cars having an almighty tussle as they come down the Cooper Straight for the last time, braking hard now into the chicane. There we can see Dave Pritchard trying to get on the inside of Jake Harris, not quite able to do it, and Jake still heading them up the hill, up onto the top of Paddock Turn for the last time. A fantastic race going on between these two very talented Metro pilots. And it's still Jake Harris now back with the advantage. Jake Harris won for 191. And still Dave Pritchard working furiously inside that lightweight Metro in second place. And believe it or not, this is only the third outing for this car. Incredible performance for Dave. And they are still as close as ever. Pete Malum spinning it there. Malum spinning on the exit of the S's up the Howard Hill. Pete Malum from Sittingbourne sorting himself all out. And these two Metros are still at it. Hammer and Dongs up front. And it's Jake Harris and Dave Pritchard. And there is absolutely nothing between them as they come down into Langley's Gap for the last time. Harris has still got it, as we can see through the windscreen of Pritchard's car. But as they come up to the flag, it's very, very close racing indeed. But I think the lad from Yorkshire is going to do it indeed. Jake Harris just gets it from Dave Pritchard with Ron Wright a very close third. Kerr Robertson moving up there very well. But what a classic race there, and what a great victory for Jake Harris. He was in front when it mattered most, just as they went over the finish line. So the lad from North Yorkshire, Jake Harris, wins a terrific duel with number 31, Dave Pritchard.
Well, just take a look at that. Proof as if it were needed of what a great tussle there was out there to be first home in that heat. But don't forget, it is the first five who qualify. And let's now take a check on those five qualifiers. First across the line was Jake Harris from Yorkshire. Second, Dave Pritchard of Hereford. Third was Ron Wright. Kerr Robertson was fourth. And in fifth place, John Waghorn. Well, coming right up is our second race today. But right now, let's meet our winner of that first heat, Jake Harris.
A real battle of the Metros there, Jake.
A lot of respect for Dave Pritchard, but I just did enough to win. He just keep fending him off. I expected a final burst on that last 100 yards at flag, and just gave it a little bit when it mattered.
So you always had a bit in reserve, did you?
Just a little bit.
Did you enjoy the race?
Oh, I enjoyed it thoroughly.
It was great. It was great to
race with
watch.
Dave anytime, yes. But with being so greasy, you want to be cautious, because if you went too fast, you could easily spin off and you'd end up, instead of being first, you'd be last.
It was a very good, clean fight, if we can call it that.
It's always good and clean with Dave. You don't get accidental bumps with different drivers, but by and large, it's a good, clean sport. You know, occasionally you drive above your limit and you slip into another car, which is then accidental.
And this is your first visit to Brands Hatch. You've come a long way from Yorkshire.
Yeah, first time. Just walked around the track this morning and was getting to know it now.
And this could be your circuit then?
It's a long way to travel from Scarborough, but I like the place.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
well, straight on to Heat 2 now. Let's join our commentator, Arthur Devenham.